Well, when I first started getting into electronic dance music, I made a record which had a sample from an old TV programme, and it went, "Here come the Thrillseekers." My friends just said, "Hey, you know what? I think you should call yourself the Thrillseekers." And I did, and it's kind of stuck with me ever since. I started to produce music pretty much when I was at school, actually. I was always the geek in the music room at school, trying to figure out how to make the synthesizer make some sounds. I was just spent all my time saving money to buy equipment to allow me to make music. I spent a lot of time in bands, and I also worked for a computer games company, making the soundtracks for Sega games. The DJing actually came much later, and what happened was I had a little bit of success with a track called Synesthesia, and a lot of people were asking me, "Hey, do you DJ? Do you want to come and play at a party?" So I kind of learned to DJ. I like so many different types of music. For me, there's good and there's bad, and if I'm listening to music in my spare time now, I tend to listen to more chill out music, because I spend so much of my time in the studio and doing gigs, listening to trance music. I also really like rock bands as well, pop bands. I love Keen, and also Coldplay. And I'll also say that Vangelis, who is like a film composer, who's made so many albums and also been a huge influence on everything that I've done in my career. It always begins, first of all, with a strong melodic idea. So I consider a keyboard, and sometimes in as little as 3 minutes I will have a musical idea which is going to be the foundation of the track. Sometimes I can sit there for 3 days and just have nothing, so it kind of depends how inspired I'm feeling, and that inspiration can come from anywhere, from something that happened to me the day before. Once I have the melodic idea, then I will kind of build the drums and all the other sounds which go together to make a record. I take generally about 2 weeks to finish a track from start to finish. Throughout my career as a musician, when I was like 17, I was in a boy band. I was like a keyboard player. We had a little bit of success. We got on TV quite a few times, doing various projects. The thing that really kind of started my career as a DJ and a producer of trance music was a record called Synesthesia 11 years ago, when Paul Van Dyke started to play the record. It was to the point where everybody loved this record, and they didn't really know what it was, but they'd heard it. And it kind of grew and it grew and it grew, and then when it eventually got released, it was put on so many compilations and went top 20 in so many countries around the world, and even made it onto the 51st State, which was a big Hollywood film. So that's the one track which kind of started the ball rolling for me. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm so lucky. I would say the best experience at one of my gigs is when I'm playing one of my vocal tracks and I can bring down the volume and there are a few hundred people or a few thousand people singing along to a track that I've made right here in the studio. The worst thing is when there's some kind of failure with the sound system, or I've recently started playing from a laptop, and at one gig the computer software crashed on me, and that was just like, I wanted the ground to open up and just take me away. The Live Extreme show itself is a 1-hour show. 10 of my best known tracks which I've remixed and kind of brought up to date and made a set from these 10 records. I kind of, whilst I'm playing live keyboards and live drums, I also kind of spin in some DJ ideas. So the software I use, which is Ableton Live, and the equipment that I have, I can repeat sections, or take sections out, or remove the drums, and basically just have a little bit more fun on stage. The next big step for me as a producer is finish my first artist album. We're kind of aiming for February 2011 for the release of my first artist album. I'm Steve from the Thrillseekers. Thank you to Paul Nova for the interview, and in fact to all the viewers of Residence TV and music lovers right around Argentina, especially Cordoba.